What's good, yo? Welcome to episode 51 of MKN GNZ TV. I have the original Bayou Boys here. Let's start that way, and we'll go this way. Your name and where you're from.
I'm starting.
Yes.
My name is Mo Taylor. I'm originally from New Jersey, Summers Point, just over the bridge from Ocean City, New Jersey. That's what you asked me. I now live in Bethlehem.
He didn't ask for exact directions, but yeah, he asked where you were from.
This is how you get to my house. My name's Christian Duarte, born in Easton, Pennsylvania, grew up in Northampton, and I currently live here in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
My name is Jerry Straub. Hi, everybody. I am from Center Valley, Pennsylvania, not too far from here. It's over a little mountain that way, Mo. If you want more directions, just ask.
Awesome. So these guys are about to open restaurant number 5.
Five.
Our
Our fifth restaurant endeavor.
fifth restaurant endeavor. That's gains. And how many? I guess some of them. There's some wins and some losses. How many had to close?
Well, just we have one loss.
Okay.
Or we call it a win because we've learned a lot.
Amen.
Since the opening to the closing of Grain in Allentown. Yeah, it's been 4.5 years, and this is our fifth opportunity.
Awesome. Fifth time up. How'd you guys meet, Jerry? We'll start with you.
We were all working at a place called Starters Riverport. Mo was our general manager. Christian and I came on as bartenders, and just from the get-go, we knew that, I don't know, there was just maybe a little special spark with the three of us that we all got along great. We all hustled. We all got after it. Lots of late nights, and I think we looked at each other and saw a mutual respect for the way that we work.
Yeah, I can just pass this one.
Yeah, we'll go.
You hold on to yours.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, he's only on this side.
Yeah, I got him.
Nah, then you're gonna. Yeah, don't reach across me, bro.
All right.
Let's go next question to Mo. How'd you recruit these guys from your bromance to get in business? I mean, assuming you're the leader, you were the general manager, but how this bromance grow into 1 and then 2 and then 3?
It's a very
4,
interesting
and a
question.
5th. That's a lot. That's gains, you know. Like when you got that, when you're working out and someone needs like 5 reps at 90%, like it's a lot of shit to do. So
It is. Well, actually, the tables turned a bit. So when the business that we were working at dissolved, we all went our separate ways. And Christian was into real estate, and he was looking at a property. And when he found this property, which is the original Bayou now, he reached out to myself and asked, what I was doing, if I would be interested in going in on a project with him. I said, let's go look at the space. It just so happened to be a space that I had previously looked at. So we were both like, yeah, love the space. Let's make it happen. But we got to go get our boy. So we called Jerry and said,
there you go.
That was smart.
That was very smart. I said, let's go have a meeting. And, we sat down, had a meeting of the minds, and, started to make history.
So Chris, opening the first one, what was the hardest part? Like nerves or red tape or?
I guess
I'll let you comment.
That's a great question. What was the hardest part? Well, here's the thing. None of us sitting here right now came from millions of dollars or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. It was all put on the table, man. So the hardest part was probably the day I signed that bottom line that allowed me to acquire the Bethlehem and the Bayou Bethlehem, and because it was all on the table, man. It was all in for all of us, but financially it was all in, and we had some things work in our favor that even allowed us to do what we needed to do in the early stages, because we learned a lot. We came from GM bartenders to owners essentially overnight. We are all owners of the company now, and originally, the buy-in from all of us was that that was the future. So they treated it as their own from the gate. But so we were all in from the gate, but we had to transition from GM bartenders to owners and understand the full blown in and outs of what it was going to take. So, doing everything, figuring everything out operationally, from seating to the entire menu and developing a concept. I mean, it's definitely a loaded question. But yeah, I guess the hardest part would have been the shaking of my right hand when I signed on the dotted line.
And I think some of the things that change, along with that, we always had someone above us, right? There's always been a boss. There's always been an owner. There's always been someone where if something goes wrong, it's someone else's problem, really. Yeah. Well, now they're all yours. And with that comes, an entire staff who is counting on you for a paycheck every week. So the stakes did get raised. We wanted them to raise. That's why we did this. But life certainly changes, and you grow up real quick when you know that, when bills are due, they're your bills, and that there's a staff of people underneath you that are counting on you for themselves and for their families and their paychecks. So it was a challenge we wanted to take on, and we're glad that we did. But we'd be lying if we said that that's not hard or difficult or even a little maybe scary sometimes.
So how'd you guys decide to roll the momentum into a second location? I feel like being all in, I can imagine the level of commitment and like the bond and communication, and then like whose idea was it to kind of, why don't we just do it again and again and again and again?
I think we felt, the Bayou opened with overwhelming success. It was more successful early on than we had ever planned on. We saw more business, more volume of guests coming through the doors than we ever had planned on. And 6 months into it, we were approached by a city center developer in Allentown, and they basically said, "Hey, you guys are doing a great job over here. We'd love to have you in, our renaissance of the downtown Allentown." And we, at the time, it was too soon. We were just figuring things out in our first location. But 6 months later, we thought that we had learned enough already, so we decided we would just go ahead and do it anyway.
6 months. There it is.
So
6 months crash course. We're good.
Yeah. So they put a phenomenal deal on the table. We thought was a phenomenal deal, but in the back of actually not even in the back of our minds, in the forefront of our minds, we knew that development of Allentown was going to take years, and we went back and forth with ourselves. Kind of debating and knowing that, it's going to be a 2-year thing. It's going to be a 3-year thing before it gets to a point. And now we're starting to see that. Obviously, we're 3 years into the time frame that we would have been with Grain, and 2 years into being at Queen City Barbecue. And now Queen City is starting to play out as,
I
as
love
a winner
that
in
place
this
on
whole
Sundays.
thing. Yeah.
Sunday vibes, it's awesome.
Absolutely. So, yeah, we collectively made that decision to go down there. Jerry tells it very eloquently. His love of Allentown and growing up, moving out on his own and living downtown and what it used to be, and hopefully one day being a part of bringing it back to what it's going to be, in this chapter of its life.
Awesome. So it seems like the theme there was patience, and like the whole point of this show is kind of like show the kids and people in the community like what it takes to chase goals, whether in the gym or in your life. So who wants to tackle the patience of it all? Yeah, you got it, Chris. I was kind of gonna give it to you anyway. So patience.
Well, and the funny thing about like, me answering this question is
that's why. Who's it the hardest for?
I have the least amount. In tackling, the greatest thing and the wild thing that people are always asking me is like, how is it, with your partners? How is it operating in a partnership? And the crazy thing about it is you do hear so many horror stories about how partnerships don't work and why they don't work, or the reason, the obstacles that come in when operating in a partnership. The greatest thing about the trio standing right here is that we're definitely not afraid to get our hands dirty. We've done every job in the business that we operate, from a dishwasher to a server to a bartender to a manager to a cook. So we've done all the ins and outs. There's no ego about what we do inside the building, and then as well as outside the building. We keep our egos, suppressed, if you will. because that's the number one suspect for getting in between partners. So everything is doable. We've learned a lot of lessons, and two minds are greater than one, 3 minds are greater than 2, as long as they're utilized correctly. And we feel like we've done a great job. To really kick it off, for the first 30 days before Jerry came about, it was just myself and Mo, and we would find ourselves stuck because it was only him and I. And so if there was a debate, it would just go back and forth and back and forth. I'm like, I'm not letting this up. He's not letting it up. And then finally, Jerry
the tiebreaker, yep.
came in, and the dynamic just became incredible for everything that we've done. And it offered balance to, that if 2 minds could, persuade or convince the other, then it was more than likely the right direction to go in. So that's kind of been that cool part, and I think a major attribute to our success is our abilities to talk things through and get to the bottom line with the right mindset.
Nice. So advantages and disadvantages of kind of coming up through the ranks of restaurant worker to restaurant owner, minus being someone who just comes in and buys it.
I definitely don't think there's any disadvantages of working your way up through it, and it goes right to, I think, what you were asking before about patience. It's showing up every day and not being the owner of a company or the boss of a restaurant, just being a busboy or a server or a host, and going and attacking that job with passion every day. I know personally for myself, the patience there was people would look at me in my 20s and say, wow, you still work in a restaurant, huh? What went wrong? Yeah. And that's not how I felt. I loved working in a restaurant. I thought I was making a difference, and I was doing what it is that I wanted to do. So being patient, and I feel like showing up every day and putting in the work and staying later than the other people, or showing up earlier, or constantly having a positive attitude at your job. I feel like because I did that and because I was patient and sort of stayed my course, that one day people that you work with go and buy their own restaurant, and then you're the first phone call.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. All right, Mo, you played football locally at Lehigh, so being a team member before, how important are the roles? What kind of roles would you say you guys have, and then how important is it that you do your job and you don't?
Yeah, there's a lot of jokes that go around about the majority of my my anecdotes and little stories and lessons that I throw out at staff meetings or in our own managerial ownership meetings. Relate back to sports, in particular football, obviously, playing the game. I draw on it constantly. One thing in particular that my position coach when I was at Lehigh would always say is, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. Which obviously make gains every day. It's like saying the same thing, right? You're never going to stay the same, because if you're not trying to progress what you're doing, you're obviously getting worse. Because someone else is getting better, right? And for us, I think, that's where we all kind of fall into our lane, right? Having a partnership like we do allows each of us to kind of expand in different directions all at once, and then come back together, and it's like, oh yeah, okay,
so you get to cover more ground.
We can cover more ground,
it's like
exactly.
Punt.
It's like punt, spread out, and everybody has their lane, right? Yeah. And if you stay in your lanes, chances are, you're going to converge, on that runner. I think for me, I think one of the cool parts of it is that neither one of us, we never fight to see who's the captain at any given time, right? We all are willing to, take a second to hear the other one out, and in sport, sometimes it has to come from a different person. You might be the captain, of the day, or, the captain for the year, but the voice, the spark could come from anywhere at any given time. Which is also why, we spend so much time in the restaurants and in our establishments getting that guest feedback. We want to know what people are saying, what people are thinking, because it only allows you to get better.
Awesome. Chris, moving into the 5th spot. What's describe this place a little bit actually, and how it came to be, the fruition.
How it came to be. Well, Mo's insight here caught an opportunity. Through conversations with, as we're all constantly having throughout the days, networking, talking to this person, the location screamed out at us, obviously us already being local in Bethlehem, looking for a smaller location to not do a full service restaurant, but do a quick service style place. And through numerous days and nights of conversation, and the evolution of that conversation, we landed on Cheesesteaks. This location here, 65th East Elizabeth Avenue in Bethlehem, we named Whiz Kids, and we're going to be doing our take on what we think, cheesesteaks should be. And ultimately, I think we call it maybe an evolution of cheesesteaks, and do our, people keep asking, is it Philly? Is it Lehigh? Is it traditional Lehigh Valley? It's not. It's going to be the Bayou Boys version of what we think cheesesteaks should be.
Nice.
And with so much culinary talent in our locations, we utilize every bit of that to evolve the concept. So there'll be numerous options of cheesesteak, both beef and chicken, and just unique ideas that are going to travel through. And something we just experienced with our sneak peek this past Saturday, just because it is a quick service style restaurant, we brought a little energy to this concept.
Yeah. Brought the juice.
Just because it's in and out, and you're in 5 minutes and out, or out in 10 minutes, doesn't mean that it can't be fun and energetic and exciting. You know what I mean?
Doesn't mean you can't have a good time.
Right? when you think about food, a lot of people get excited about food, and you get excited to go eat wings, or you get excited to go eat a burger. Every time I stop at Pat's in Philly, I'm stoked. But how cool would it be if the energy was a little bit heightened, or the music vibe was good, or you get to walk in and see maybe some nostalgic movie that you grew up watching. And so that's really where we're gonna, I think, touch on a few things that don't exist out there in the area, or maybe anywhere.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So I guess that kind of falls into the wall behind us, right?
Yeah.
You hitting on nostalgia and like throwing it back a little bit, and bringing the energy.
So maybe
and the Lego wall over here, that's exciting too.
It's cool.
I'm probably gonna move some pieces around when you guys aren't looking, but might like spell my name or something. Might bring in like special Legos and just. Yeah. I'm gonna Google.
There'll be a bucket waiting there for you.
I'm gonna Google naughty Legos. The naughty Legos are mine. Whatever ends up on that wall. Just know it's mine. Cool.
Serious Lego games.
So talk about what's it like being everyone's favorite restaurant group in the Valley.
Ooh. Oh, he dropped it on me like that?
I think we had lots of conversations before our first restaurant, the Bayou, ever even opened up, and we just prayed that someone would come. And we still have so much work to do, even in that first one. When you say that, and I know you're half joking and half serious, so thank you. You might be slightly biased. I think that we never see it that way, and we have very few celebrations between us. If we're in a room privately, or if we're asked questions even like this, there's a ton of humility in us, because we're not focused on the few people that say my favorite restaurant in the Lehigh Valley. We're thinking about that one thing that we know we need to fix today, or that other thing that's happening in this restaurant. So we don't celebrate. We're not old enough yet in our careers to take a victory lap by any means. We are grinding like crazy. We feel like we're still in the infancy of this entire thing, whatever this grows into. And the hard work that we've put in the past 15 years, in the restaurant scene in the Lehigh Valley, is the only reason people, I think, are coming to check us out to begin with. If they come in and have a great time and enjoy one of our restaurants, it makes us so happy, but we're definitely not celebrating.
I mean, it's awesome watching you guys grind, like from out of starters all the way into restaurant number 5. It's been an inspiration for me as also a local business owner. So I'll just kind of close because this episode's fire and I don't want to start messing it up yet. Best part and advice of working together, for advice for someone who might want to take a shot one day on a restaurant, chasing their dreams, or...
If you have not worked in a restaurant, come see us before you decide to open a restaurant. It's a challenge, but I think honestly the benefits of doing what we do and have done are honestly what brought forth us being able to win. Like us working in this industry and having a genuine love for the industry and actually caring about the people that come through our doors has really just, I think it set us apart. Like we don't focus on things that don't matter, and the things that matter most to us are the experience that our guests have, and the lives that we affect, like Jerry said earlier, and our staff that is counting on us to put them in a position to win and provide for their families. So the best part about what we get to do every day is obviously getting to do it together, but truly having a love for what we do. I mean, there's not a day that I wake up and go, oh man, I gotta go run some restaurants. You don't work a day in your life, huh? I really don't. Awesome. That's another joke, but
I get it already.
Yeah. I mean, it's true though. As long as you love what you do, does it really ever work?
No.
So I would agree with that. But the one thing I think I would touch on that's been extremely motivating and or allowing for the success that we've endured to evolve, in the famous words of Kendrick Lamar, be humble. Be humble. Leave the ego at home. A daily victory does not mean you've won the war, you've won the battle. The daily victories just need to continue, especially if you're looking to succeed for long periods of time. We're in this for the long haul. We all have children, we all have families. We want to send our kids to school. You have to stay grounded. You have to stay humble. Leave the ego at home, and really just stay driven as well, because this business doesn't stop. People are always going to want to eat. People are always going to want to drink. And
I'm always trying to eat.
Yeah, right.
I'm like getting a little hungry now.
And the way that society is evolving at such a rapid pace, people always want what's new and exciting. So if you're not staying up with the times, if you're not truly in it, always, chances are it's going to come and pass you by.
Absolutely, and I think just the challenge of doing something like this and knowing that everything is on the line, you start to prove to yourself, are you one of those people that can get out there and like for real attack life and honestly become successful, even though you don't have maybe a boss driving you anymore. If you get to that position where now you're right, Mo, you can come and go as you want, and now I think you're held accountable to see how much work do you put in. So the challenge that we've given ourselves, I think, has proved, at least to the three of us, that maybe we are those type of people that can go get after it, and can become successful. But we're nowhere near that yet, and we're still going to go after
closer.
it. So.
We're trying, number
man.
5. You're a little closer.
Trying.
You gotta give yourself some credit.
Yeah, we're getting after it. We're getting after it.
Awesome. Well, it's great to talk to you guys and hear how much passion and like humbleness and all the right things that are getting poured in. I can't wait to this will probably be my weekend spot. And just want to thank you guys for all your help you've done with like my Steel Rockets guys, and everything from giving guys jobs to donations and food. It's helped tremendously. You guys keep making gains. Thank you. Appreciate you. You keep making gains too. What's up, YouTube? Shout out to the Mettle Army. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Please subscribe to us over here and check out this video right here.